ASTRAEOS LEMNOKIS just dropped, and it's packed with insane new features, game-changing creatures, and massive content drops. From biome overhauls to brand new mechanics, there's a lot to cover. So today, I'm breaking it all down with the top 50 new features that you need to know about. Coming at number 50, we have Kali and Ura. These are two boar mini-bosses that can be found below this tree. They aren't too hard to kill and have a few basic mechanics. When killed, they drop 30 element each and some decent items and blueprints. Overall, it's a pretty simple fight. And coming at number 49, we have the Astral Mammoth. This can be found over in the new area and mainly kind of in the open kind of grasslands. But yeah, they're pretty difficult to kill, but they do drop some pretty decent loot. It's equivalent to a red cave drop on just any map. Coming at number 48, we have the Astral Direwolf. This is a brand new dino as well, just like the mammoth, and this can be found over in the snowy areas. They often do spawn in packs sometimes, but yeah, their loot is equivalent to about a yellow cave drop. Coming at number 47, we have the new best way to farm cementing paste. Simply come over here into this little area, it's called Maelstrom, and there's two different zones where you can farm this stuff. Anyways, if you look at these coral little things right here, if you just walk up and hit it with a pickaxe or just an Anki or just something, you're gonna harvest cementing paste. Now the CP is honestly gonna be a good amount on boosted servers, but official it's not really worth the grind. But you have this area and then you have the cave that's right next to it. Coming at number 46, we have clay. The clay can be found here on screen. This is the pretty much only spot that I could really find them at. But yeah, I mean it is decently useful, but I'm gonna be honest, clay isn't really a big thing, so not a lot of players are gonna be looking for it, maybe on PvE, but other than that, nothing too crazy about it. And coming at number 45, we have the Managarmr. These were just added on the map with the new update, and these can be found over in the snowy redwoods and over in the other just like snowy redwoods. So there's two different zones, one with this iceberg thing out front, and then the far one. They don't spawn as frequently, so you're never gonna really see them, like you're only gonna see like a couple at a time, but yeah, they do spawn on here, which is pretty cool. Coming at number 44, we have the brand new Ob. I believe that this is Blue Ob, but one cool feature about the obelisk is that this actually does turn, so it turns basically with the sun, but it is a pretty cool feature that not a lot of players do know about. Coming at number 43, we have the Snow Owl. Now these were also added, but I haven't really been able to find too many of them. I had to spawn this one in to really kind of get it, but yeah, I was not able to find them, so I think the spawns are kind of broken currently. Coming at number 42, we have the Gotcha. Now these can be found over in like the grasslands, kind of flat open fields, and they spawn in very, very big amounts, so you can easily find Gotchas pretty much everywhere on this map. And coming at number 41, we have these gas collectors. Now these can be found all over at the aberration part of the map. They're pretty much everywhere and they're hard to miss. This video is sponsored by Mitra 9. Mitra 9 is a kava and kratom seltzer company which provides an alternative to alcohol. These drinks give you a high, but without the impairment. They have a ton of great flavors, my favorite being tropical. If you're looking for a new drink to replace your coffee in the morning, Mitra is the way to go. Simply go to mitra9.com and use my code OUTCAST and you will get 25% off your entire order. Now, back to the video. And coming at number 40, we have this really cool little Easter egg that I found. If you come over here, it's pretty close to the obelisk, and come right back here in this little like waterbed area, there is this little hidden kind of like base here. I don't know, it's a pretty cool little feature. I'm not sure what the backstory is here, so if you guys do know, please leave it in the comments. And coming at number 39, we have this base spot. So now we're going to go over a couple of these different base spots. These are more like PvE spots, but I thought that there were some pretty decent spots. So starting with this first one, this is a pretty high up elevated spot that actually has a pathway that kind of leads up here and a decent amount of flat land. Coming at number 38, we have this spot. Now this spot is a little bit better than the last one. It's not as high up, but actually has a pretty cool spot. So it has a nice little waterfall as well as a pathway that goes straight over the waterfall, and then that is the only way to really get onto this base spot, which I actually thought was actually a pretty cool little feature. I like this spot quite a bit, but again, these are all just PvE spots, so if you're on a PvP server, I wouldn't really recommend living here unless you want to get raided. And coming at number 37, we also have this spot. Now this spot is actually a pretty cool little one. It is the highest top of this entire kind of portion of the map, which I like a lot. It's got a little kind of like castle structure thing up here, as well as a little fire pit or like a bonfire area. Yeah, it does make for a pretty cool spot. Coming at number 36, we have this location. Now this one can be found over here in the snowy redwoods kind of region. Now this doesn't really look like a base spot because of all the foliage and all of the trees, but it is a pretty flat area and it's kind of on top of a taller pillar. It's a little bit harder to see here, but it has a pathway that leads up here. It's more for like a smaller, medium-sized tribe, but I figured that it's in a pretty good spot. It's more centralized towards the rest of ASTRAEOS. Coming in number 35, we have this location. Now this one is very centralized to the Lemnokis island. It's mainly why I picked this one. It is super central, so you know everything around you is pretty much the equal distance from your base. It's a pretty good spot if you can get your hands on it, and it has a little pathway that kind of leads up. So if you just block off that pathway, it will honestly make for a pretty decent base spot. Coming in number 34, we have the underwater region of the map. Now there's technically two different areas, but this is the much bigger one. It only has one cave down here, I believe, unless there's a nice little hidden one that I still couldn't find. But yeah, I'm not going to show off this entire area, but just know there is a ton of room. And if you're looking for a lot of harder dinos to get, it's got Moses and Tusos and a lot of them. So if you're looking for those, definitely come over here. Coming in number 33, we have this location. Now this is an like open water kind of underwater cave, so I'm not going to classify it as a cave because it has like 4 different entrances, but this thing is absolutely enormous. So I'm not sure if they're gonna, you know, add something in here in the future or what's going on with it. I mean, you can live in here, but the lighting kind of does mess it up a little bit. But other than that, it is a pretty cool, very massive spot. Coming at number 32, we have our first little crystal area. Now this is the biggest crystal spot on this part of the map that I could find so far. But yeah, this has a ton of crystal and even a little bit of metal. So if you're looking for a lot of crystal and just a good spot to farm crystal, this is 100% your location. Coming at number 31, we have our first metal spot. Now I'm only going to put a couple metal spots on this video. I'm not going to go too in depth about that because there is a good amount of them, but this is an absolutely massive spot. So you have this entire bottom region, which is covered in metal, and then you have all of this too. Kind of covers all the way up to the snow, but yeah, tons of metal for you to farm. Coming at number 30, this can be found over on the far this kind of like corner of the map, and this is another pretty decent metal spot. There's not as much compared to that last location, but if you're looking for some metal and you're living over here, this is a pretty decent spot. And coming at number 29, we have the Snowy Redwoods. Now this is the first map that has snowy redwoods on it, which is actually pretty cool. And not to mention that the redwoods on this portion of the map is absolutely enormous. There's just an absolute crazy amount of wood. So if you're looking to farm a lot of wood, definitely come to this part of ASTRAEOS. You also have manas, snow owls, and also some really cool stuff over here. And coming at number 28, we have the icebergs. Now the icebergs on this map are actually pretty big. There's a good amount of them, and penguins do spawn on the bottoms of them, which is pretty cool. Now there is no oil that I could at least get to spawn in, but yeah, it does make for a pretty cool and nice little interesting part of the map. And coming at number 27, we have the oil veins. Now this portion of the map actually has a ton of them over here. This is a spot that has 2 of them, and it's pretty centralized, so I kind of figured that I would go ahead and toss it on this video. But yeah, here's the first one, and then here's the second one. I went ahead and put an oil pump on it. But yeah, just let you guys know there are an absolute crazy amount of these on this map. And coming at number 26, we have the first aberration entrance. Now the coordinates can be found on screen right here. But yeah, this is just one of the 2 entrances, I believe. I don't think that there's any more parts of the aberration part. I've been looking and I can only find 2, but yeah, here's the first one. Coming at number 25, we have the other entrance to the aberration zone. Now this can be found kind of on the opposite side of these canyons, and the entrance actually does look pretty similar. But yeah, here's your other entrance. And now we're going to go over some new structures on this map, starting with this first one. Now this first one is my favorite out of all the structures in this new zone, as it's just like kind of a full base. Now this is more of like a PvE kind of one if you're going to look to build on here. But yeah, I do actually like this one quite a bit because it has little spike walls and everything to help keep the dinos out. And coming at number 23, we have this spot. Now this is another pretty big structure, and it actually does have a cave in it, so you're probably going to see this twice on this video, because one portion is going to show off the cave, but on this one I'm just going to show off the main structures part of it. So it has a top little cave up there too, but it doesn't really go anywhere, it just kind of goes down to the ground. But yeah, coming in here you have, I believe, 3 different rooms, starting with this first one on your right. There's nothing too crazy in here. I mean, it's a nice little spot if you're looking for that. But yeah, overall, I mean, I guess it's a cool spot. I wish that they kind of did more with this though. Coming in number 22, we have this spot. Now, yes, I did show this off earlier as one of the base locations, but this does have some new structures on it, so I can go in depth a little bit about these. Now, inside you have this one's more of like kind of ruins, and then the other one is kind of more fortified. But again, it's nothing too crazy. I mean, there's nothing too wild going on over here. Just some cool little structures for you to build in, and then you have that little bonfire over there as well. But yeah, that's about it, as well as that other like kind of, I don't know, it's little house or temple thing down there, which is pretty cool as well. And coming at number 21, we have this little area. Now this isn't really a structure, it's more of just a giant open cave, but I like this spot quite a bit. It has a lot of room to build in, so if you're on a PvE server, it actually will be a pretty amazing base spot. PvP, it's possible, but I mean, I personally wouldn't mess with anything that's just open. You're just gonna get raided. But yeah, not a bad spot. Coming in number 20, we have this spot. Now this is the area where you farm the clay, but it has 3 different little houses. You have 2 of them that are kind of open plans, so you're able to actually build in them, but the 3rd one over here, you can't really build in. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, here's this one. Actually, it's technically 4 houses, but yes, you are actually able to build in here, and you can put down stuff like smithies, fabricators, just on the ground. It's actually a really cool feature. But yeah, this one is locked off, which does kind of make you like wonder, why is this one locked off? Coming in number 19, we have this location. Now this is honestly probably one of the best new spots on here, because it has a really cool little like Zeus statue out front, as well as a lot of room to build. I like this one quite a bit too. It's pretty close to that other one that's kind of on the beach. I still like that one a little bit better. But yeah, inside you have a nice little statue and some pillars, which do kind of take up the room in there, which does kind of suck. But other than that, it actually is a pretty cool spot. Now coming at number 18, we have this small tiny little structure. Figured that I would toss it in because it's in the kind of redwoods little region. There's nothing really else out there except for this. So yeah, it's a cool little area if you want to build like a tiny little base on it, or just like kind of an open base. But yeah, it has a little statue and a cool little walkway. And coming at number 17, we have the Maelstrom. Now this is just a really cool little like hole in the ocean, and it's actually a really cool and interesting thing to put on a map. I've never seen anything done like this at all other than on the center. But yeah, this one is a lot different. I like this one a lot more than the centers because it actually has, you know, something going on underneath it, versus on the center it's just kind of bland and doesn't really have anything too crazy. But yeah, there's like a couple caves in here, and fun fact, if you hit the coral, you do get CP from them. I think I covered that earlier, but figured that I'd say it again. Now coming at number 16, this one can be found at 1.4 latitude and 89.7 longitude. Now this is one of the caves where I'm going to just move on to pretty much all of the caves on this map because there is a lot of them. Anyways, this little location is actually a pretty decent one. If you're looking to play on like a PvP server and you're looking for some cave spots, this one is good if you're like a solo or a duo looking to kind of hide away. There's a good amount of room in here, but you know, for a big tribe, there's not much to really work with. And coming at number 15, this can be found at 16.3 latitude and 100.5 longitude. Now this cave isn't too crazy as well. It's more of a smaller cave for just a smaller tribe, but the entrance is actually pretty tight, so if you can figure out how to defend that properly, it can make for a pretty decent spot, and the ceilings are pretty high up too, so you can put some cliff platforms up top, and honestly just have your base strictly up there. It's still going to be a pretty hard one to defend though, I'm not going to lie, but it does have a lot more room. Coming at number 14, this can be found at 27.1 latitude and 85.4 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this cave actually does have 2 entrances, this being a very massive entrance in a very awkward spot. So if you're on a PvP server, have fun trying to defend that. It's pretty much impossible. But yeah, this is more of a PvE spot, and it does have a good amount of room to work with, but it's a little like awkward with all that stuff, you know, just kind of going on. But overall, still a pretty cool cave. Again, sorry for the lighting. I don't know what was going on in here, but the lighting just did not want to function properly. I'm not sure what's going on with that. And then yeah, here's that other entrance right here. Coming at number 13, this can be found at 9.4 latitude and 94.9 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this is another kind of awkward cave. It was looking like it was going to be pretty cool before this patch actually did come out. And yeah, nothing too wild with this one. It's got a pretty kind of tight entrance, so building in here is going to be a little tricky still. Definitely still possible, it's just going to be a tricky one. It feels kind of like Ice Cave on the island, just a little bit more cluttered and just not as much room to work with. I mean, that was your main room right there, so nothing too crazy, and then all these little side areas are just hallways. Coming in number 12, this can be found at 1.7 latitude and 75.0 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this is a pretty decent cave. It still is a little awkward and not too big, but defending the entrance can be a little bit easier. You can still squeeze a lot of stuff in here like stegos that can fit pretty comfortably through that entrance right there. But yeah, you do have a good amount of room in here. It's not as big as that other one, but still a pretty cool cave, I guess. Coming at number 11, this can be found at 4.8 latitude and 95.5 longitude, and then there it is on the map. Now this for some reason has the same entrance as the island ice cave, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a huge letdown. I went over this in my last cave video that I just did, I think yesterday, and yeah, this cave is a bit of a letdown, I'm not gonna lie. It just feels very unfinished, like they just kind of just tossed it together like last second. And yeah, this is what I mean, like the room is just tiny, there's nothing going on in here. It overall just kind of sucks, but still a pretty good spot if you're looking to build in it. Coming at number 10, this can be found at 41.4 latitude and 77.8 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this can be found over in the Maelstrom, that giant hole in the ocean. Simply come over here and go behind this waterfall right here, and you'll find a massive entrance to this cave. Now this cave has 3 main ways in. One of them I feel like is a glitch and that might get patched, but the other 2 are just pretty big entrances. Now this, for PvP wise, I don't think is a good idea, because defending the entrances is just way too difficult. There's a lot of room in here to build, so if you're on a PvE server it'd be pretty cool, but just know that this is a pretty high spot for farming cementing paste, so you're probably going to have a lot of people trying to get in here, so I would definitely be careful. Coming at number 9, this can be found at 19.0 latitude and 78.4 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this cave would have been probably the best one on this list. However, they completely messed it up by having 2 entrances. I don't know why they always have to do stuff like this. I mean, I get it. If it's a PvE spot, that's pretty cool, but for PvP, it just absolutely sucks. I mean, overall, it's still a pretty cool cave if you're looking to build in it, but yeah, here's the main room right here. Got a lot of room here, a lot of flat room as well. But yeah, it's just kind of a huge bummer that it's got 2 entrances. I feel like that's always gonna be killing off like the caves, which does suck. But again, if you're a PvE player, it's still actually a really cool spot to build in then. Coming at number 8, but this can be found at 17.8 latitude and 83.9 longitude. Then there it is on the map. I did cover this one earlier, but I'm going to cover the cave side of this little area. I mean, it's not much of a cave to be honest, but yeah, it is technically a cave, so I want to put it on the end of this video as one of the caves. Again, sorry for the light issues. I don't know what was going on here. I really don't know. The lighting is just it was bugged out for the first couple hours, but it's kind of fixed now, so I don't know. But yeah, in this little room is where it opens up into the cave. Now the cave is awkwardly a little bit too dark for some reason. It's like they forgot to put lighting in here, except for right here. This is your main room, nothing too crazy, but you have another entrance right here, which does kind of kill the PvP side of it, but still a pretty cool cave. Coming at number 7, this can be found at 5.6 latitude and 92.3 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this is known as Skirt Cave by somebody in my comment section on the last video, so I'm just gonna keep calling it Skirt Cave because, you know, after all, there's a dude with a skirt out front. But yeah, anyways, here's the entrance. Overall, pretty decent size, but nothing too crazy. Now this little area right here does kind of throw it off for building, you know, turret wise. It's gonna be a little tricky, but you still do have a lot of room to work with, and honestly, it's one of my favorites. I mean, I like this spot a lot. It even has water in the middle as well. So yeah, this does make for a pretty decent PvP spot. Coming at number 6, this can be found at 18.3 latitude and 93.1 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this can be found right over here in this kind of like open grasslands kind of area, and this one is actually a pretty decent one, I'm not gonna lie. It has pretty long hallways that are not too terribly large, so building in here isn't actually, you know, impossible like the other ones. Now it does get pretty narrow right there too, which kind of keeps the rock golems from getting over here into your main area. Now this area does have a decent amount of room, could be bigger, but still a really good PvP cave for smaller tribes. Coming at number 5, this can be found at 9.9 latitude and 89.9 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this location is actually a pretty overpowered spot, I'm not gonna lie. At first I thought it was kind of a mid spot, but the entrance is so tiny that if you just defend that main entrance, you have an absolutely insane amount of room to work with. So this is kind of like a little tree cave, which is pretty cool. I saw one of these on Fjordor and on Valgero, I believe, I forget. But yeah, this is your first room. Now, like I said, as long as you can just defend that main entrance, it will make for a pretty phenomenal cave spot, honestly. Now, your back area, which is right over here, I forget exactly, yep, there it is right there. So this area can fit, I believe, a couple turtles, but stegos cannot fit. And then here's your main rooms. You have 2 different areas to live back here. And yeah, overall, this is probably one of the best spots on ASTRAEOS now. It just has a ton of room, really small entrance, and it's also a water entrance too, which makes it even harder to raid. But yeah, overall, pretty nice spot. Coming at number 4, this can be found at 9.1 latitude and 71.4 longitude. Then there it is on the map. So now we're going to start getting into the really good caves, starting with this one. This one's kind of okay, but it gets into the really good caves after this one. So this one's entrance is a little bit too big right there, but it does kind of get really tiny over here, which keeps a lot of main dinos out from trying to raid you, and you have a lot of room in here, and I mean a lot. So yeah, it makes for a pretty... Honestly, I mean, I don't really have too many issues with this spot. It's really good. The only downside is that it's on a beach, which is a spawn zone, so not the best. Coming at number 3, this can be found at 20.2 latitude and 69.3 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this one can be found right over here. Just kind of look around for the terrain and you will find it. This is really not a big entrance at all, which does, I mean, that's a huge upside, but this is a phenomenal spot as well. It has really long hallways that are a little bit too tall, I'm not gonna lie, but they're still not horrible. Well, one major thing about this cave is that it has one entrance. Thank you for finally only having one entrance, but here's your main room. You have pretty much infinite room in here. You shouldn't run out of room, I'm just going to be honest, especially with cryos. It also has a full little water area in here, which allows you to do a lot of water breeding too. It's not just like a tiny one. You can do quite a bit right here. So yeah, huge upside with this cave. I like this one quite a bit. And yeah, it's one of my favorite caves on here. And that top area is not another entrance, it's just like a skylight. But yeah, here's your little water area down here. Coming at number 2, this can be found at 16.2 latitude and 88.9 longitude. Then here it is on the map. Now this can be found right over here in this little water right in front. The entrance is not terrible at all. You can't really fit stuff like a rock golem in here. Well, actually, maybe. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that. You have a nice little long hallway entrance onto the cave, which is a huge upside for PvP. And then it opens up into a pretty, I'll say a medium large kind of area. It's not as big as that last spot, but still quite a bit of room to work with. So yeah, this is honestly, again, one of my other favorites. I like this one quite a bit, but not as good as the last one. Still a really good spot though. And coming at number 1, this can be found at 48.3 latitude and 73.5 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this is the only new underwater cave that I could find. There could be more, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Now this entrance is a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit harder to defend, but absolute massive amount of room under here. You pretty much will not run out of room. This is probably, I think, one of the biggest on this map, I think, other than that other underwater one. But yeah, pretty decent. I mean, I'm not gonna lie at all. But anyways, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy my top 50. Don't forget to leave a like if you're new, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to go check out Mitra 9. Anyways, thanks for watching.